what's your motivation to keep pushing forward at this point? I mean, are you paying attention to numbers and data, or are you just having fun with everything because you're not necessarily monetizing at this point?
Well, I certainly monetized FUMS. FUMSnow.com, I monetized my blog, my podcast. I started affiliate marketing on there, started doing reviews, taking sponsors for my podcast, sponsors for and ads for my blogs. And interestingly, in there about the same time, I started the podcast. I actually started the whole thing just to help people with no intention of monetizing. But the podcast I started because I love the medium. And Zack, I'm not forgetting we have an argument to have yet. But I loved the idea that I'm going to win. But I loved the idea that you could hear. I'm such a podcast freak myself. I'm such a fangirl that because it is so intimate, somebody's in your ear, when you're working out or going for a walk or doing the dishes or whatever, it just creates this, I don't know. I feel like I know these people and like I'd be a weird fangirl, I think, if I saw any of them in real life, because I feel like we're such old friends. And so I wanted to create that kind of same feeling for my folks. So that's why I started FUMS podcast. And but what I want to say to the bigger picture of businesses, I didn't originally have an intention to monetize it. I have been able to, but more importantly, the overall lesson for business is relationships and networking. So that podcast was kind of just out there. I put it on hold for about 18 months. And Zack, that's when you and I knew each other at Hatch, because I started a Facebook page for my local community and I parked everything. But in that time, because that podcast was out there, I was found by the vice president of healthline.com, which is the largest health information company online. And it just so happened they wanted to start a podcast, had no background in it, and reached out and asked me if I wanted to partner with them. And that was the start of a patient advocacy. I don't even know what to call it. There's a patient advocacy industry that I didn't even know existed. And I was found because of my podcast. So I think just being out there, just letting people know what you do and who you are, there's so much value to that. So I wasn't doing a thing with it at the time, but that's how I was found. And then I got in with Healthline doing podcasts for them, and they decided to start which did they start first? I think the app for MS, and they needed a guide, and they asked me, and they had Googled me and they found that I'd started all these communities like the one in Western Branch. And so they asked me to be an admin for their MS Facebook page. Cool. So I do that. And then they saw that I was a writer on my blog. And so they asked me to write for their various publications. So I do that. And eventually I realized I am now making more money working for myself than I was ever working for someone else. And I can do it from my bed. I work from the hospital infusion center. I've worked from the beach in the Dominican, which was lovely. And I had that epiphany, like I'm making more and I'm taking good care of myself and I'm able to, and I've dialed down the stress and all of that. I realized I had this obligation to share that with other people with chronic illness. So that's where Patients Getting Paid idea was born. I have to share this. I have to share my journey, how I did it, why I did it, and here's how you can do it too. I'll show you the path. And that's where, and I now I realize how much I use my hands. There's a lot of jazz hands going on in this interview.
Well, that's exciting stuff.
It is exciting.